Cool.
Hello and welcome to Why Wasn't It Better? I am your host,
Pat.
Patrick Tarms.
I'm your co-host, Anton
Tom.
Paras.
We are joined today by a longtime guest and favorite of the show, Peter Baldeo. Welcome back.
Thank you, everyone.
Good to have you back. Anton, it's good to have you back from vacation. I can see the lackadaisical relaxation visible in your face.
Well, I'm still on island time mentally, but I couldn't think of anywhere else I'd rather be than to be on the show right now and talking about this movie that we're going to be discussing very, how should I put it, with lofty heights.
Laboriously?
Sure.
It is a happy coincidence that basically the couple days after you come back from a tropical Pacific island excursion that we talk about King Kong.
Yeah, and I brought back with me 300-ton gorilla. So
Did you have to check that, or did they charge you extra?
it was, thankfully, it was, they did give me a voucher for check-in, so that's what I used it on, was the gorilla. So
Benefits of flying first class.
yeah, thank you, Hawaiian Airline.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
So it's going to be the 20th anniversary of this film coming up this December. By the time this episode comes out, it'll be a couple weeks away. Peter Jackson had just conquered Middle-earth, so naturally he had set his sights on Skull Island. But somewhere between the 1930s nostalgia, the video game chase scenes, and 3 hours of monkey melodrama, King Kong became a towering example of excess. We're going to dig into bloated runtimes, miscast leads, overwrought slow motion, and why sometimes the biggest spectacle can feel the most hollow. Peter Jackson's expansive remake of the 1933 classic follows director Carl Denham and his crew on a journey from New York City to the ominous Skull Island to film a new movie. Accompanying him are playwright Jack Driscoll and actress Ann Darrow, who is whisked away by the monstrous ape Kong after they reach the island. The crew encounters dinosaurs and other creatures as they race to rescue Anne, while the actress forms a bond with her simian captor. King Kong was released on December 14th, 2005 by Universal Pictures and Wingnut Films. It was directed by Peter Jackson. The screenplay was written by Fran Walsh, Philippa Boyens, and Peter Jackson, based on the film King Kong by Marion C. Cooper and Edgar Wallace, starring Naomi Watts, Jack Black, Adrian Brody, Thomas Kretschmann, Colin Hanks, Jamie Bell, and Andy Serkis. The budget, $207 million, that is $314 million adjusted for inflation. And the box office was $556 million, that is $844 million adjusted for inflation. It has an 84% Rotten Tomatoes score. Peter, as the guest today, why did you want to talk about King Kong?
Oh, man. As soon as you asked me about this, the first thing that went off in my head was nostalgia. 2005, Xbox 360, King Kong getting launched, movie coming up, Peter Jackson's return. Purely emotional. That's why. As soon as you asked me about the movie, it triggered something deep inside me that tapped into 15-year-old me.
This is a very nostalgic movie for some. I mean, this was a huge deal when it came out. You mentioned Peter Jackson. This was him at the absolute peak of his career. I mean, Anton, he was coming off of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which is about as universally acclaimed as a film trilogy can get. The third one won him a Best Director Oscar. It won Best Picture. And probably you, and like me, and like everyone else, when it was announced that his next film was going to be a remake of King Kong, I was very excited for this. We were all high on whatever Bilbo and Gandalf were smoking. We all saw this in the theater, right? I'm assuming.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, definitely.
This was one of those movies. I mean, the world is so different today, but because 20 years ago, we all saw a lot more movies in the theaters. But this was absolutely one that I knew I could not miss. So I saw this opening weekend with my dad, got good reviews. It made a lot of top 10 lists with critics for that year. I remember liking it at the time.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Because I remember walking out of that theater and thinking, this giant monkey just got to destroy this forest, and it was awesome. And I remember thinking I didn't want to have to wait for it, but I did. But I liked it.
I do remember wondering why it was 3 hours, though.
Yeah, it didn't need to be that long.
Yeah, we all know what we wanted to see, which was the spectacle of big monkey destroying things, right?
Man, it's such a simple creature.
Did we need the rest of it?
I was going to say, we got that, Anton, but at what cost?
The rest of it.
I have never rewatched this film, and I think that kind of says a lot. I mean, maybe I saw it one other time in the past 20 years, but if so, I don't really remember it. It can't just be that a movie's long, right? Like, Lord of the Rings are all long movies. I love rewatching them. So we're going to have to ask the question, why wasn't King Kong better? I have two questions for the both of you before we get into the production history of this.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, how many times did you press fast forward rewatching this? Be honest.
I didn't, actually. I watched the
Really?
entire movie, but I did it in 2 sittings. Yeah.
Okay.
Because
2
every
settings. Okay.
every time you ask me to do a movie, I want to commit to it, so I always want to do it. That's why I don't want to look at the notes. I don't want to do anything. So I watched half of it last night, approximately right before I knew the monkey was going to get there. And I watched the better half today. So I did it in 2 parts. So I guess you can count that as one fast forward.
Anton?
I didn't fast forward, but the parts that I remembered vividly, or at least the parts that I remember the first watch around, I just spaced out. I was just like, this is so boring.
Well, that was going to be my second question, is at what point did you either zone out or fall asleep?
It was definitely the first part of the film.
Okay.
Getting to Skull Island, or even parts of Skull Island.
Well, unlike the both of you, I'm going to be honest here. I watched huge chunks of this movie on 1.3 speed.
Only? I would have figured, like, let's go 1.5.
There were some scenes that were 1.5, yes, but pretty much all the dialogue scenes was like 1.3, and then the action scenes like 1.5.
Yeah, they kept doing that weird, they would slow down the screen like it was Goosebumps from the 90s or something.
Oh, the strobe slow-mo effect.
Yeah, I was like, the visual effects didn't age well. And I remember thinking, I've watched Bond movies from like the 80s that have better special effects than this. And this is Peter Jackson. This is the Lord of the Rings guy.
It is the Lord of the Rings guy. And it's interesting because I think the effects from Lord of the Rings mostly hold up.
Yeah, they do.
But regardless, Anton, please kick off the production history for us.
So this film took a long time to develop. Peter Jackson had been obsessed with King Kong ever since he saw it as a boy. At age 12, he attempted to recreate the film using his parents' Super 8mm film camera and a model of Kong made of wire and rubber with his mother's fur coat for the hair, but eventually gave up on the project. It became his favorite film and was the primary inspiration for his decision to become a filmmaker as a teenager. During the filming of Jackson's 1996 film The Frighteners, Universal Pictures was impressed with Jackson's dailies and wanted to work with him again. They offered him a chance to direct a remake of Creature from the Black Lagoon, which he turned down. The studio learned of his obsession with King Kong and subsequently offered him the opportunity to direct that remake. He initially turned this down as well, but, quote, quickly became disturbed by the fact that someone else would take it over, quote. And Jackson continued, and make it into a terrible film that reminded me, and I eventually said yes to Universal. Around this time, Jackson was working with Harvey Weinstein and Miramax Films to purchase the film rights of Lord of the Rings. He also turned down 20th Century Fox's offer to direct the remake of Planet of the Apes, which would be directed by Tim Burton and released in 2001. Check out our Planet of the Apes episode. Because Weinstein was taking longer than expected to buy the Lord of the Rings rights, Jackson decided to move forward on King Kong. Weinstein was furious, and as a result, Jackson proposed a deal between Universal and Miramax that the two studios would equally finance King Kong with Jackson's production company Wingnut Films. Universal would receive distribution rights in the United States, while Miramax would cover foreign territories. As part of the agreement, Jackson was given the final cut privileges and full artistic control. Pat, shall we put a massive pin in that?
Put a massive pin in that. He was given final cut privilege and full artistic control. So Jackson and his wife, Fran Walsh, began working on the screenplay as early as 1996. Universal approved the script with Robert Zemeckis as executive producer, and the plan was to begin filming in 1997 with an intended summer 1998 release. Weta Workshop and Weta Digital began working on early visual effects concepts, but the project stalled in January of 1997, and concerned about the upcoming Godzilla remake as well as Mighty Joe Young and the Planet of the Apes remake, Universal pulled the plug on Kong. This is when Jackson decided to start working on Lord of the Rings. Thank goodness. Fast forward to 2003, when he's doing post-production on The Return of the King, Universal approached Jackson about restarting the project, and they proposed a December 2005 release date. So Jackson and Walsh They brought Lord of the Rings co-writer Philippa Boyens on to help rewrite their original 1996 script. Universal originally greenlit a $150 million budget, but that quickly grew to $175 million. Jackson made a deal with Universal where he would be paid a $20 million salary against 20% of the box office gross for directing, producing, and co-writing. He shared the fee with Walsh and Boyens. However, if the film were to go over its budget, the penalties would be covered by Jackson. So the trio began working on the screenplay in October of 2003. They chose to put their own spin on the 1933 film instead of using their original script. They included scenes from James Ashmore Creelman's screenplay that were omitted during production of the original film, the most famous of which being the bug scene. Jackson brought back most of his crew that he had used for Lord of the Rings, including cinematographer Andrew Lesnie, production designer Grant Major, art director Simon Bright and Dan Henna, conceptual designer Alan Lee, and editor Jamie Selkirk. I don't believe the last one because I don't believe this film had an editor. With a completely new screenplay finished in early 2004, they began filming that September at Camperdown Studios in New Zealand. At the studio, they constructed the native village and the Great Wall while the streets of New York City were built on the back lot. Andy Serkis was cast in the title role, performing Kong via motion capture. He prepared himself by working with gorillas at the London Zoo. That sounds funny. He then traveled to Rwanda, observing the actions and behaviors of gorillas in the wild. It's just funny to hear him he worked with gorillas at the zoo, performing menial tasks.
I mean, we look at the behind the scenes, it totally makes sense.
It does. Hey, he was committed, man.
I mean, behind the scenes for him as Gollum.
Unbelievable. This film has many problems. Andy Serkis was not one of them.
No. Shining star, Andy Serkis.
Love him. Over the course of filming, the budget went from $175 million to $207 million. When there was additional effects work needed, Jackson extended the film's running time by 30 minutes. Why?
No.
Why?
No.
What are you doing, Peter? He covered most of the $32 million surplus himself, and they finished filming in March of 2005. This was very briefly the most expensive movie ever made, unadjusted for inflation. It would be eclipsed the following spring by X-Men: The Last Stand, which is another lemon of a movie. We've covered that one too, Anton.
Blech.
Yeah, that movie stunk. It really did.
Yeah, but we're going to get Kelsey Grammer back as Beast.
Sign me up. Howard Shore was originally the composer of this film, and he actually wrote several cues before quitting in October 2005 due to creative differences with Jackson. I would love to know more about that. How their collaboration on Lord of the Rings is so successful. It's one of the all-time great film scores. What happened?
Could we find out what those 32 minutes that he added in were? Were they first or second half?
It was the horror scene where all of the plants and bugs are eating the crew.
It was actually kind of funny. It actually wasn't that terrible.
Like everything else, it went on too long, but yes.
Yeah.
It did.
That went on way too long.
There's definitely a director's privilege there, I guess.
Oh, there sure was. So Shore was replaced by James Newton Howard, who was given only 5 weeks to deliver a new score, which he described as, quote, the hardest to compose, end quote. Some of Shore's work has allegedly been leaked over the years in low-quality form, but it's never been confirmed if any of it is genuine. Gentlemen, let's talk why wasn't it better. The number one reason is Peter Jackson. And this is where we can really just talk about how absurdly long this film is.
Yes, let's chat, because, Pat, I know you have very strong feelings. I have my opinions as well. But let's get to the meat of it. What are your thoughts on Jackson?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts on Peter Jackson. I understand why Universal gave him complete control. The amount of clout that he had after Lord of the Rings, he was going to get this control from any studio, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had an unlimited budget, no editorial restraint. He was on a mission to make everything epic, even stuff that didn't need to be. But this is no small nit to pick. This film is at least an hour too long. It's probably 90 minutes too long. A monster movie like this has no business being anywhere near 3 hours. This is one of the most poorly paced films I've ever seen that we've ever covered on the podcast, Anton. I mean, I'm going to give you a preview of how I'm going to rate this. This was a fucking awful rewatch for me. I was miserable rewatching this movie.
Wow, that's heavy, man. I actually enjoyed it. But it was also it was nostalgic. I don't know. I enjoyed watching it. I didn't think it was that bad. That's
Do you
harsh,
think
Pat.
do you think it was appropriate for a 3-hour film?
No, I think
Yeah.
the story could have been told in 2:15, 2:30, and I would have given the guy an extra 15 minutes for artistic liberty. But no need for 3:7. That's nuts. Wow, there wasn't that. There's just so much fluff in this movie. Not even good fluff. Bad fluff.
Awful.
You want to blow
So-
stuff up? I'm down.
So we cut it down a bit. There's probably more of like a special DVD studio cut that might be better, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, he extended this by 30 minutes. I even think 150 minutes is way too long. Do you know how long the original film is? Do either one of you know?
It had
Out
to
of
be
curiosity.
short. 62 minutes. Just a random guess.
It's
I'm gonna
90
go-
minutes.
I was gonna go 90 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a 90-minute film.
I think that's reasonable. The drama. I understand the need to try to build the characters, and I bought some of them. Naomi Watts I liked. Jack Black looked like he got fired from the School of Rock. Adrian Brody, I got a soft spot for that guy. I love Adrian Brody, but we didn't need that much character development, right? Like get to the monkey and get to blowing stuff up.
I mean,
I
look,
got some timestamps for you.
it's very
I got
clear.
receipts.
Yeah, no, it's very clear. Peter Jackson loves this IP, right?
Yeah,
And so with that, I think that the approach, of course, is I don't want to do what's been done before. I want to create the spectacle that I want with the budget that I have, with now the creative freedom that I have. I think that you put anyone in that kind of sandbox, you feel like maybe they're building too big of a sandcastle when the quantity is completely demolishing the quantity is completely demolishing any quality that you could get out of it. I think
that's fair. I think that's
Pe-
a very fair criticism.
and we've had examples of this. I mean, what does the prequel trilogy ring any bells?
They do.
Prequel trilogy.
and I think another great example of this, Anton, is Avatar: The Way of Water.
What? That
Yeah.
didn't need to be made.
You're like, why is this 3 hours?
It
So,
did-
Anton, it sounds like you agree with me.
There's a lot of around personal sentiment. Like this is the kind, like I love classic Hollywood. I've said this a lot before. And there's always a want for me to see just love for that genre, whether it's like classic horror films, classic monster movies. But this, I will admit, like this is a very, very long film. And I think like a nice distinction, we've talked about this before, there's a difference between long and enjoyable, but like long, laborious, and at times boring. And I think that's where this film misstepped a bit.
Okay, let me ask a follow-up question. Given that we did have to wait too long for the payoff, was the payoff worth it?
Everything was a spectacle, I'll admit that. But
Right?
I don't think that this film goes down in history as like all-time great. And I feel like for me, that's where this almost feels like a bit of an ego-driven film to try to create something that's like all-time great.
To answer your question, Pete, was the wait worth it? No. I was just as unimpressed with all of the action scenes in this film as I was with the slow scenes. Much like Avatar: The Way of Water, and in some ways the first Avatar, it was dazzling in the moment, in the theater, and then on rewatches. This is the cinematic equivalent of someone telling a decent story and they take forever to get to the point, and by the time that they do, you're just like, why is it still happening?
What did the middle 50-50, what did the middle 55% have to do with it?
I told you I had timestamps. They don't make it to Skull Island until 52 minutes into the film.
So it's funny. I actually
It's
paused
so
it
long.
like right before they got there, and I was like, "Wow, I've been watching this movie for an hour."
I had completely forgotten in my mind about all the stuff that happens in New York before they even leave or before they get to the island when they're on the boat. I was genuinely confused when I was watching this on Netflix. I thought this was like a director's cut or something. I'm like, are these deleted scenes that I'm seeing?
Yeah, well, why are you talking about this?
So my wife was watching this with me. She fell asleep because this movie's a snooze fest. She
Right.
fell asleep really quickly into the film. It was a little late on a Friday, but she probably fell asleep around 10 minutes in. She woke up when they got to Skull Island, and she asked me, did I miss anything? And I'm like, you know what? No.
Nope, still no monkey yet.
Still not there yet.
still no monkey.
I think if you wanted to improve this film, you could just cut out the first 45 minutes. They should have been at the island 5 minutes into this movie, just like in the original film.
Because that made sense, right? But
Yes.
they wanted to. I think that you get a combination of Peter Jackson, like, hey, Pete, you said it, wants to build out the stories a bit for these other characters, which in the original they were not quite as fleshed out.
Think
They
about
didn't need
any
to be.
think about any successful King Kong or Godzilla movie. Does anyone actually care about the characters? No, we care about the
No.
giant
Not
monkey
really.
and we care about the giant
Not really.
dinosaur. That's what we care about.
You know what? It's like it's interesting because then I think about every like the current era of monster movies. You do still have the universal monsters, right, with King Kong and Godzilla like together right now. You guys are familiar
Yeah.
with this, right?
This is the HBO one, right? It's like
Yes.
new.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called. New Universe or something.
Yeah, and that is just so silly, and they've completely embraced like, okay, people just want to see the monkey like destroy
Love it.
stuff.
As long as you
And-
put that on HBO Max and I'm paying a subscription, I'll watch it. You tell me to pay $10 for it on Amazon, you're out of your mind. I ain't
Yeah,
doing it. Actually, I would.
No investment in the character story at all, and any other characters. But yeah, I feel like just getting to this film, way too much story and background for these characters. I did not need to know so much about Naomi Watts.
Anton, are you talking about like you didn't need to know about Jamie Bell's character not being able to read, which they spend
Yeah,
feels like
just
15 minutes on?
no
Oh.
payoff, doesn't really do anything.
No. Does he die in the bug pit? Because he kind of just disappears
I
in the
thought-
film, right?
Sounds about right.
But we don't even know. I would make the case that they don't even spend a lot of time on character development. There are huge chunks of this movie where there is no plot. It's just them stumbling around in the jungle trying to avoid being eaten by monsters. Like these are video game cutscenes.
Yes, that's exactly what they are.
Well, this was also at a time where there is like you make the comparison to video game cutscene. How much of this is also building into tie-ins, right?
Yeah.
Longer the film, the more the content, characters for people to attach themselves to. It's not just about creating like a product for the monkey. We need to do something for Adrian Brody, so that way people are going to want to buy his action figure too.
Did they make action figures for this?
I hope
Oh
not.
yeah,
Did they
they
really?
absolutely did.
Did they sell?
We can pull this up if we had like a camera feed on our on our video. I'd be like, all right, pull up the pic. There's the monkey.
You guys need like a board guy.
Yeah, can we pull that up?
Yeah, slide 17.
There is just not enough plot here to support a 3-hour runtime.
Nah, I can agree with that. And I understand the predicament, and I understand why they gave him the liberties they did coming off of Lotor. I do.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I get it. Well, I get why they let Jackson do this. Anton, what is this called? George Lucas syndrome, director's cut syndrome?
I think director's cut syndrome is probably the best way to put it. George Lucas is definitely a textbook example, but we see this with other directors, of course. We see it here. We see it, George Lucas that we just mentioned. One could argue Nolan with Tenet, even Nolan in general with like longer films, but he does also have a nicer batting average with the length of his films.
I would agree. He has a higher batting average. Tenet being the exception. I know there are people that like Tenet. That is a steaming pile of crap.
I still don't understand it. I've seen the movie 3 times.
I
and I have
personally
no
don't
idea what's
understand
going
it.
on.
I'm not going to
I
pretend
don't.
like I did.
I'm not gonna lie. I've literally seen it 3 times, and I have no clear understanding what happened in that movie. 0.
Anton, you mentioned the Star Wars prequels. We mentioned the Avatar movies. I think we're forgetting something really obvious. This film is all the foreshadowing that we needed for what Jackson would do with the Hobbit trilogy.
The Hobbit movies were worse, and they were much worse because they were just cash grabs. And that was also not only Peter Jackson leaning into the CGI and just whatever dollars the studio execs probably put in front of him to just say yes to the project. But I will say King Kong, it is clearly a passion project. Like, look, there's no other way to put it. Jack Black's character is a stand-in for Peter Jackson. He saw himself as Peter Jackson, as the obsessive director.
He sure did. Now, here's my next question for you both. Is he George Lucas 2.0? Hear me out. A visionary world builder who gave the world a beloved, groundbreaking trilogy of films and then never came close to following up on it again. He even mirrored him by trying to deliver a prequel trilogy that disappointed everyone. Obsessed with technology and CGI. Is he this generation's George Lucas?
Wow.
I mean, I think we're being a little tough on Mr. Jackson. I see your point, Matt. But at the same time, like I think they're very different. The amount of films that Peter Jackson has made compared to George Lucas, Peter Jackson, of course, comes from very humble beginnings. Where did he start out, right? Creating like low budget horror films. And then he ends up building his way up, clearly has a very strong directive vision, and finally just kind of finds a winning formula, the winning team, and an IP that he absolutely loves with Lord of the Rings and does a fantastic job. So even if the latter half of his career is so great, I think they're two very different directors.
But you could say George Lucas came up doing low budget sci-fi. Similar.
Right.
Has Jackson
Yeah.
done anything since Lord of the Rings that you liked?
No.
No.
I'm not going to
No, he has
pretend
not.
like I dab.
No. You know what, Pat? I feel it's hard because I actually really liked Lord of the Rings. Okay, so here's the question. Lord of the
You mean
Rings
The
is
Hobbit or Lord of the Rings? We all liked Lord of the Rings.
The Hobbit wasn't very good.
Right.
It wasn't very good. It was okay, but it wasn't. Yeah, he's George Lucas 2.0.
It disappointed everyone, The Hobbit
Yes,
trilogy.
he's George Lucas 2.0. As I was saying it out loud, I was like, I think you're right. Yeah, I think so.
Now, I'm going to say something in his defense.
Okay.
Have either of you seen the 2 documentaries that he's done?
No, I'm not.
No.
They're outstanding.
What are they?
They Shall Not Grow Old is a World War I documentary, and then The Beatles Get Back. Definitely worth seeing. They're really, really good.
Yeah, They Shall Not Grow Old. That was before the Beatles one, right?
Yeah, that was like 2018, 19,
Yeah,
somewhere around there.
I did hear really good things about that. But I mean, I guess even also to, heck, you could say the same thing about Lucas, but even to Peter Jackson, after the Hobbit films, he hasn't really worked on much.
No, he produced a couple things. He was involved with District 9 as a producer, Tintin as a producer. He produced that film Mortal Engines, which I haven't seen, but that was like a massive bomb.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for a Tintin sequel for 15 years, but that's probably not going to happen, even though he says he's going to do it. You know, I do want to give George Lucas credit, though. He did give us Indiana Jones, even though he didn't direct those films. Like, those are George Lucas creations.
Right. Yeah, I guess it's, how would we describe George Lucas 2.0? Such a strong peak, but otherwise everything else is kind of middling.
Yeah. I mean,
Joker at best.
But isn't that kind of amazing? It's like, how do you create some of the best films of all time? And it's just hard to live up to that same standard with every film.
and I guess if you're Lucas, it's the highest peak of any peak ever, right? Star Wars? Like, what's top? Nothing will ever top that.
Yeah, it's
don't think
like
so.
the most beloved, if arguably the most or one of the most beloved franchises of all time.
Yep.
Until Disney ran it into the ground, yes.
But people
Yep.
still love it, which is crazy.
Yeah, and they still watch The Mandalorian. They still watch Andor. They still watch everything, and there's always a controversy.
They do. None of which is real Star Wars, but that's
But like,
fine that they like it.
even
Yeah,
with Lord
that's
of the
cool.
Rings, I mean, honestly, even with Lord of the Rings, people love it. People still,
They do.
yeah, it's still in conversation. But yeah, how do you go to such high peaks? And I think you still go to those peaks and you still deserve credit, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Don't want to take anything away from him. I mean, George Lucas 2.0.
Damn. Who's George Lucas 3.0? Irrelevant for this conversation.
I don't know. I mean, it would have to be. We haven't seen the beginning of it yet. What's been as beloved as Lord of the Rings since Lord of the Rings?
The MCU and the 32 movies.
Nah, it
But
doesn't.
there's no like real defining directors for that though.
No, there's no trilogy.
Yeah.
We may never see that again.
I mean, a newly emerged IP defining director with like a trilogy of films.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, I mean it's hard, which is like kind of a testament to them, right?
It is. Number 2 reason why this wasn't better, the production. This is one of the most boring beginnings to a major blockbuster that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
This
Terrible.
is one of the weakest first hours to a blockbuster that I've ever seen.
It's when I spaced out.
Multiple times in the first hour, right?
Did you guys ever watch The Simpsons?
Yeah, of course.
The first Treehouse of Horror, they actually did one of the shorts where it's just shot by shot, a quick Treehouse of Horror short of King Kong, and it gets every single beat right. You're on the approaching Skull Island, you meet Monkey hits T-Rex, back in New York, Monkey falls off building, dies.
And they do this in less than 20 minutes?
Get this, they do it in about 6 minutes.
That's about how long the movie should have been.
They do it in 6 minutes. It's hilarious. It's on point. They fit in really smart jokes, and that's great direct. That's great cartoon direct.
Yeah.
Well, The Simpsons excelled at that, for sure.
But then you have this, and this is where it's an interjection, again, of ego and passion. That's what I think. That's how I see it. It's just Peter Jackson wants to talk about directing.
You know, as ponderous as the first hour of this is, they don't even make it interesting. You know what I mean? Like, instead of providing useful context, like, I was wondering, like, how did they come to possess the map? They don't even do anything like explain that. They give us stupid B-plots like Jamie Bell being illiterate.
Yeah, or Jack Black's franticness to make sure that he can make a compelling film.
Well, that's the craziest thing about this, right? He's basically cons his way into making a movie even after being told his financiers have backed out. Like, that's not how that works.
Yeah, you still need to pay the people, dude.
Pete, you mentioned the slow motion, that strobe effect that Jackson uses throughout the film.
The last time I saw that was in Goosebumps on TV with
Everyone
commercials.
remember that? Dun,
Yeah.
dun.
Stay out of the basement. Like, and I remember it, like, coming up next week and seeing that since. And maybe Goosebumps was Peter Jackson inspiration.
Could have been. I was going to say, Anton, the last time I can recall seeing it for the podcast is the cheesy opening battle in Gangs of New York.
Yeah, that's a good the strobe. Yeah.
Or a Korn music video.
Right.
I don't think Peter Jackson should
All
be
around
digging.
all around that era though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. But
didn't they
in
have
one of
this
the
effect
most-
in the first Transformers?
They did. They did, actually.
Yeah.
But it was different. It's like they had the strobe effect, but they didn't slow it down. Like when Naomi Watts walks into the cavern and she starts seeing all the skulls, there was no need for them to change the speed of what was happening. Like, you didn't need to do that. I remember seeing that.
Isn't that a great sentence? When Naomi Watts walked into the cavern to see the skulls.
See the skulls.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
When the boat captain shoots the native islander, you know, right after the dude gets speared.
Like the captain from the Titanic.
It takes 3 minutes for him to fall to the ground because it's in slow motion. Remember, it keeps cutting to the native guy, just like...
I did feel bad, though, like, when Naomi Watts is standing next to the guy, and then all of a sudden the guy just gets, like, shanked. And he's just like, ah!
Yeah, he got.
Yeah,
he did get got.
He went down hard.
That felt like it added 20 minutes to the film, all the slow motion stuff.
Yeah, there's no need for that. It was kind of weird. Maybe that was cool at the time. You know, maybe I just don't remember it, and everyone was doing it, but...
I don't think it was that common. I think Anton was right. It was more common in that era, but man, it's not aged well.
No, it hasn't.
No
it's
way.
just when you see it, it just reminds you of that time.
It was used a bit in Lord of the Rings in a couple shots, but it wasn't. I feel like it was being abused here.
Yeah, that and just how would you describe the lighting in this film?
Very inconsistent.
Like overly produced at times.
Yeah.
I was very unimpressed considering how big the budget was by like how bad some of the green screen was when they're on the boat.
Yes.
It looks so fake.
Like,
They
it's
didn't-
very
what?
clear with the green screen, and I felt like that to me was the most egregious, right? Like with the budget, like where it's at, and building such spectacle, I would have figured even someone like Peter Jackson would want to build way more set pieces, right?
Yeah. It didn't make any sense, because it's like you wanted to display this grand story and give this illusion of the island, but you just kind of feel like, I don't know, it kind of feels like a Netflix soap opera.
So then is this actually the metaphor for Jack Black as Peter Jackson, and King Kong is the movie that he desperately wants to create, but he knows he never will, so he has to compromise?
So he told his own life story.
Well, there's probably a reason why he also saw a bit of himself in the character. It's interesting because, like, on the surface, it doesn't seem like it's a very deep movie, but you can't help but think all of the layers, all of the added in with, like, clearly there's a lot of cinematography in this film. It's trying to kind of zhuzh it up a bit for like a artistic cinematic piece. It's not just your average like summer popcorn flick.
You're starting to talk about the tone.
Just a bit. Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah, I know what you mean. How like there are some scenes that Jackson really tried to give them depth, like mainly the scenes between Naomi Watts and Kong, where they form this bond. They like watching the sun rise or set or whatever. You know, that's very touching. But then you also get scenes like how many of the ship's crew members were getting picked off by monsters? Like, it felt like dozens.
A lot. Remember when Kong was holding the guy and then he tried to shoot him? And he threw him against the wall and then he just
The
like
black guy.
fell. Yeah. And he just fell into the cavern.
Yeah,
It was, but like, I feel like Kong would have let him go if he didn't shoot him.
probably. Yeah.
It looked like it, right? At least that's what he was building to, and then boom, he just got his spine broken by being thrown against the wall.
You have all these B characters getting picked off. None of it moves the plot forward. I kept saying, I'm going to keep repeating this. A lot of it just feels like watching someone play a video game.
Yeah.
And
I think that's reasonable.
what you're saying, Anton, this completely clashes for me tonally with like the serious stuff going on between Kong and Naomi Watts' character.
Yeah. And do we think a bit of that is just, again, is that so much Peter Jackson with maybe a mix of what his artistic vision was, but also maybe some interjection of, hey, like, how are we going to market this?
Yeah. I mean, I know how they were going to market it with the CGI, and I think the CGI holds up pretty well. I think some of the compositing is really bad, like during the Dino Stampede.
Wow, that was weird.
It looks really bad 20 years later. But like the CGI on Kong, I think still looks great.
I would say Kong looks.
They spent the
great.
money there.
Yeah,
Kong looks really good.
Like you see him on a modern TV, and you see the detail in the hair. I was like, okay, it's clear that he got the biggest budget of the movie, and it's clear they spent all the money there. But then you watch the T-Rex, which is cool, but the resolution and the depth I don't think is there.
And that fight is 20 minutes long.
That's true. Also doesn't need to be 20 minutes long. But, facts are true or not, when he splits that T-Rex's head open, you can hear it in your head of the theater going, ah!
Pretty intense.
Yeah, it was sick. It was dope.
At the time, yeah, I was not that impressed by it now. But it's not just because it's an older film, right? Like I am still just as impressed by the stuff I see in Lord of the Rings now, 20 plus years later, as I was then. I don't feel this way about this film.
I think it's also just an endurance through the film for moments like that. Like I can't say I love every single scene in Lord of the Rings, but there's so many, so many great scenes, so many fantastic shots that if there's even just a moment where I'm just like, I don't love this part, you can embrace all of it. Versus with Kong, it's less about iconic moments and just there are a few like pretty cool moments, but with the rest of it, you just can kind of shoulder it a bit.
This is like a 3-hour tech demo.
Yeah. Actually, Pat, now that you mention it, when you say you remember the one scene where that strobe effect was used in Lotor, it's flashing in my head now, and it was like the first movie when it involved Gandalf.
or I remember it with the Uruk-hai when they're chasing them.
Yeah.
The orcs.
They're putting like the face paint on in Saruman when they're like gearing up to go after him, and they're like, Grrr!
And it's great.
You have no power here, Gandalf.
One of the halflings carries something. I wrote this down. This is just how I feel about this movie in general. Spectacle is not story.
No.
Yeah, agreed.
Just like with the Avatar sequel, Anton, I was dazzled by that in theaters, and then rewatching it became a slog.
It's clear we've said it enough times. It's just a bit bloated, and it really does lean on spectacle.
Probably the most memorable scene in the film is the bug pit scene, right?
That legit terrifying. Legit.
It is horrifying.
Like it's slow-mo watching people in desperation try not to have torturous ends. Like what were they? Like worm, eel, bug things?
Some kind of leeches or I don't know. I don't even know.
Like
there's like giant millipedes too, centipedes.
Get every single phobia, whether it's like insects, small spaces, crevices, reaching into like the unknown. It's just terrifying. So kudos for Peter Jackson for me always reeling whenever I see that scene.
It is just about the most awful thing I've ever seen. It didn't move the plot forward in any way.
No, and it was also really long.
Was that 10 minutes, 15 minutes?
It was also in slow-mo in parts, right? Because you're seeing it from the perspective of different characters looking out at other characters getting manhandled by the beasts. I thought it was going to be Jack Black's number.
I was so hoping he would get killed.
It looked like he was. It really looked like he was.
Please let this guy get eaten.
He's gonna get eaten.
But then he started singing AC/DC, and that was a different movie.
His life was saved. And then he went back to teaching school.
I really do think the last act in New York is what saves this film. Because the New York stuff looks incredible. The reconstruction of 1933 Manhattan, it looks great. And man, you do feel bad for Kong.
Yeah, it was very sad. What did Adrian Brody say? In the end, it was beauty that killed the beast.
Which is from the original film.
Right. Yeah, I loved it. Loved it.
No, Jack Black said that.
Oh, okay, that's who it was. I forget. I just hear the quote in my head, and I was like, yeah, he's right. He is. Curtain close.
Let's talk about the cast. That's the third reason why this wasn't better. Because the casting got a lot of criticism.
It's a interesting cast, right? It's someone who has shown to be very marketable and to be very successful for the box office. Any guesses on who I'm referring to? Of course,
Andy Serkis.
I mean,
Gollum?
look, we love Andy Serkis. We
We do.
love Andy Serkis here. But no, I mean, it's what Jack Black's like basically been his whole career, and even up to now. I mean, dude pumping out, $1 million, $1 billion films. So
But-
he seems like a good idea on paper somehow.
You're talking about like the Minecraft movie, though, right?
Right. Well, hey, do you know he made a ton of movie with the Jumanji films?
Yeah.
He made it.
But are people going to see those movies because of him?
No.
Kids will.
You think?
Yeah, kids will. Kids, like, it's why he's so beloved and also seen as so marketable. Because kids really love Jack Black. Like, that's no doubt. The dude
Yeah, you're right.
consistently appears and hosts the Nick
I was
Kids
just going to
Choice
say
Awards.
Nickelodeon. I see him all the
Yeah.
time on the...
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right, though.
and-
You're
and
not
the
wrong, Anton.
and kids really love him. So especially when you have a film like this, which minus some of the more horrific parts, like, yeah, this is definitely marketed to be for like not just for kids, but yeah, like kids are gonna want to go to the movies to see this, especially for the video game tie-ins. Like Jack Black does kind of make sense.
It was kind of a gamble for them in 2005, too, because I don't think he was a box office draw then. He had been in some movies that were hits, obviously. He was famous, but this was
Right.
by far the biggest film he had been in at the time.
And it's also not the most Jack Black character ever written.
No, he is awful here.
Yeah, it's very
He-
different.
He
for
is
him.
completely miscast.
Yeah, no, he great job in Tropic Thunder, but in this one a little different.
Not ideal.
But then what other side of it, the very famous Adrian Brody,
Another strange bit of casting.
he's not a leading action hunk, right?
No.
He's a dramatic actor, Academy Award winner, but not really someone that is a marquee name.
Oh, I just realized, Peter, you were on the last time we talked about Adrian Brody in The Village.
Yes.
The
The legend. The
So
legend
Anton,
himself.
these two films were his follow-up to winning his Oscar for The Pianist.
Spectacular.
Strange.
it's
I
so
think
strange.
it's-
I mean, this was probably I actually can see it. I can see it in the same way that like his agent was like, "Hey, like you want your movie to do well, you sign Adrian Brody. He just won an Academy Award."
Right.
And Adrian Brody's
and I
like,
get
I
why
can-
he
I
would
can
want to
do
do
it.
this. Like, he's like, oh, King Kong, that's going to be great. I get to be in King Kong.
But like again, right? I feel like King Kong is the headline where it says starring, right? Starring a giant monkey. And you don't call up Pedro Pena to act alongside the giant monkey, right? And like Anton's not going to the movie like, wow, I really want to see this performance by Pedro Pena. No, we're trying to see the monkey. Adrian
Right.
Brody or not in King Kong, that didn't affect my decision to go see it or not.
They could have saved some money and not signed Adrian Brody to do the film, because I'm sure, especially with the Academy Award winning title next to it, it wasn't cheap. But hey, I mean, in for a penny when you think of the size of this budget.
Yeah, true. Cheap, relatively speaking.
And none of these characters are interesting. Not even Naomi Watts' character.
Yeah, another interesting one. I think that's more of a, because I see two different sides to this. It's like there's a crossroads of like, and this was really well received by critics, and did well at the box office. So, but it's not a beloved classic, right?
No, it's not.
And if you're Naomi Watts, you're Adrian Brody, you're Jack Black, you're attaching yourself to a iconic film name like this that has such heavy weight all the way back to like classic Hollywood. You're attaching yourself to King Kong. You could be like cementing yourself in like Hollywood history. I don't think Naomi Watts did.
No, I mean, I think she's fine here. It's just pure vanilla. Like, she's fine. She does like her scenes with Kong they're great, but that's mostly because of Andy Serkis's motion capture performance. And this is the problem with the cast of this film. The best performance in the film comes from Andy Serkis.
Yeah, and were you ever convinced at all that Naomi Watts would make out with King Kong? No, never.
It doesn't make sense. It's there's other actors in here that we know, right? Kyle Chandler, Thomas Kretschmann as the captain. He's a badass. He's the only man of action in the film, really. Although
real gruff.
You get Adrian Brody dangling from a cliff with a machine gun. It's weird. We get young Colin Hanks and Jamie Bell.
Very refreshing to see Colin Hanks.
Yeah.
I think
everyone else gets eaten.
Yeah. You didn't have a name. You're done.
But who else did we want? We just want Kong. Like,
That's
this
it.
was a film you just really need Kong.
Andy Serkis Deluxe.
His performance is tremendous. It really is. I just wish any one of the human characters was half as bit as interesting as King Kong.
I mean, I really enjoyed King
Anton
Kong's
just
line.
so disapproving.
Yeah, it's just judgmental.
Shaking your head.
It's true. It's simply that. Like, Andy Serkis was the best part. Like, King Kong was the best part about this film. The film is called King Kong, but there wasn't enough focus on King Kong, or there was maybe there was just enough focus on King Kong. They just decided to bloat it up too much with the rest of it. They had a much better film in the film.
I forgot the timestamp. I think it's around 1 hour, 20 minutes where he appears. Does that sound right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. It was at least an hour into the movie.
I had also forgotten how big Naomi Watts was at the time. She had been in The Ring, Mulholland Drive. She got an Oscar nomination for 21 Grams. I guess this would have been like the height of her career being in
Wow,
this.
21 Grams. That was a really good movie.
Yeah. Who else is in that? Benicio del Toro?
Yes,
Right?
legend.
And then the end where Jack Black says Beauty killed the beast. I almost laughed.
Right thing to say. I don't know. I actually didn't mind it.
Oh, real quick on the visuals. I got to say, there are some really great shots in here. And I do want to give Jackson and the cinematographer Andrew Lesney and the effects team credit. The shot of Kong falling when he finally is killed, and it's that slow motion shot of, and the camera's tilting around. You see all the snow-covered skyscrapers in Manhattan around him. It's a pretty amazing shot.
Yeah, it works. I mean, even the special effects on the biplanes are pretty cool, man.
Oh, they looked great.
Yeah.
They really did.
Even the special effects there, I thought were awesome.
Yeah, did you? I mean, Pat, I'm sure you have, but like, have both of you guys seen the original King Kong?
Yes.
I actually have not.
Yeah, so Pete, when you get a chance, definitely check it out. It's
Worth it?
It's not too long. It's, I think, fun to see like a classic film. And if people were worried about like cultural sensitivities of how natives were portrayed in this film, that film was a bit more out of this time. I think that's the best way for me to put it. But when you get to the actual King Kong parts, that's like Hollywood magic, right? When you get to the New York scene, like, it is also the best part of that film. And I think what you have with this film is the chance with modern technology to do it right. I'm sure that back when RKO did King Kong way back when, they probably envisioned, how can we get this as realistically as we can and make it a beautiful shot of like King Kong in New York. I think this film did that right, and I have to applaud them.
They did deliver on that. The last 30 minutes of this movie are pretty riveting.
Yeah, they definitely ramped it up. It was really good. They definitely knew what they were trying to do in the end of the movie. That's for sure.
Because they had the blueprint for how the movie was supposed to end, and they just stuck to it.
Last reason, the box office. I remembered this being a huge hit, Anton. It kind of not really, though.
I think, not in the same way that we would expect, right? But still did well. Critically did really well.
I wonder if it turned a profit in its initial run. I don't think it did.
I don't think so. I mean, it's crazy to think that Hollywood still revisits these same IPs to today. I mean, we talked about like the revival with the HBO King Kong films, but people are drawn to the spectacle. I know we've talked about it before. Like, oh, did we lose Pete?
We did.
Oh no.
Well, if he comes back, he comes back.
Oh no. Should we wait a little bit?
We should.
All right, we'll wait a sec.
We were just breezing through these notes.
Yeah.
I hate this movie so much.
Yeah,
This is such it's so boring.
It is really boring. There's a lot of it that is really, really boring.
Would you ever rewatch this?
No. But like not in a like I hate it kind of way, just in a way that I'm disinterested, you know? This movie doesn't offend me. There's nothing about this that offends me.
No, it's
This
just
is
boring.
like, this is very much like I'm sure like if you talk to someone who was in film school, they could dissect this a bit and they'd be like, oh, you know what? This is what's fascinating about this, because I really do think like this was Peter Jackson overthinking making a King Kong film.
I forgot to say it. I wrote it down earlier. This is basically what happened the next year with Superman Returns, where Bryan Singer was so obsessed with paying homage to the original Richard Donner film. It's like, why don't you just make your own film?
Yeah, because there's ego and passion, and like that, it's tough.
Ego, passion.
We got him back.
Hey, you good?
Dude, our power just went out. Yeah. No,
Oh,
we're fine. Our power just went out, so it knocked out the router, and then it knocked out the modem. So I was like, fuck, dude. I don't have anything right now.
It's all good.
We're back.
on.
We're back.
Oh boy. Oh boy. You can turn
All
your
right.
camera off.
Oh, yeah, hold on.
Gotta
Don't need
edit that out.
Don't need no deep fakes.
Where were we?
I forgot my train of thought. So
Oh, we were talking about the box office. Just for some perspective on this, this made only about half as much as Return of the King. So, Universal canceled the plans for a sequel. They were really hoping this was going to turn into a franchise.
yeah, but at the same time, this was competing with other IPs that were capturing people's attention much more effectively.
Wait, a franchise?
That's what they were hoping for. Yeah, they had sequel ideas.
I mean,
Like,
to be
what? King Kong versus T-Rex's 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, they've done it. They've done it now, right? They're doing it now. So they weren't too far off. It was just execution was a little off.
But isn't Kong separate IP than Godzilla?
Technically, no, not anymore.
Well, it technically is, right? But there is a universe that's been set that does have them in both, and that's the current like Universal Monsterverse or the Warner Brothers Monsterverse.
But there was that old Kong versus Godzilla film from the 60s, right? I mean,
there was. I don't know the history of that particular film for why it could happen, but then it also gives Kong electricity powers,
as you do.
as you do.
Right.
As
you
does.
do. Yeah.
That's King Kong. That's Monkey.
Yeah. You don't jib him with that.
As one does.
That's King Gorilla.
This sold $100 million worth of DVDs. Pretty good.
DVDs.
Yes, this is back in the day when DVDs could make that kind of cash.
That's not, and like how much? Okay, so how much do you think was each DVD? Like $25? 20
Probably,
bucks?
yeah.
Well, this was 2000, so it wasn't like outrageously expensive. It was like
I think
$20.
they were over $20, right? No,
For like 25 though was always like the extended like special features, which let's be honest, no one ever cared about.
So what is that? 20 million units sold?
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot, dude. In 2005, that's a ton of people that want to rewatch offline.
That's 20 million units sold
Wait,
worldwide.
is it 2 million units? Pete,
Oh,
you're good with math.
2 at $20? 2 million at $20. That's
100 million, 20 million. I think it's 2 million.
None of us can figure this out.
Yeah, bro, it's way too late in the day for me to be using my brain right now.
Yeah, it is.
All right, here, I'll do the math for you.
quick math. Let's do the quick math. Quick math check.
While you're doing the math, Adam Wingard said
we're not even close.
Around
where were we
2013. What's the answer?
So 100 million units divided into $20 is actually 5 million units.
Oh, it's 5 million.
Right.
Okay. All right. Cool. That makes way more sense.
Horrible math.
Yeah.
Which is still impressive.
Yeah,
that's a lot of DVDs.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
like what the state of Iowa.
Yeah,
Ah.
sure.
Yeah, a DVD a person. That's what you do in the Iowa off season.
Adam Wingard said around 2013, Jackson explored producing a sequel. It would have been Skull Island, and Wingard was going to direct. But by that point, the Kong rights had transferred to Warner Brothers, which complicated a sequel. And of course, we did get Kong Skull Island in 2017 as a reboot, which is now part of the current MonsterVerse.
Yeah.
Adam Wingard would later direct Godzilla vs. Kong and the sequel Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. I have not seen either one of those.
They're entertaining.
I did see. Well, I saw the one where there was like the mini Kong. Did you see that one, Pete?
Yeah.
And then like I think it was hilarious to see King Kong use the mini Kong as like just kind of flailing him around like a bat.
Yes. He was like a secondary weapon.
Yeah.
It's the best thing to put.
Yeah. But this was probably what Universal originally envisioned. Like we can build a universe off of
which makes sense.
like Kong. And like they were I absolutely think they were right. It was just this was not a film that sets up a universe very well.
Yeah.
This was so
two
astronomically expensive to make.
It just didn't make any sense. Like
apparently, the Universal Orlando location, Islands of Adventure, has an attraction called Skull Island: Reign of Kong, which is based on Peter Jackson's idea for the sequel.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
Sidebar: how much do we want to go to this new Universal Epic Universe theme park?
Oh my gosh,
Definitely. 100%.
It's like
I would pay for top tier.
The hype for that has been enormous. I've only heard good things.
looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
When did we chat about that, Pat? Was it a year ago, a little over a year ago, when I was like, "Hey, did you hear about this epic universe they're doing?"
We did, and then we kind of recently we talked about it. Was it on Transformers 1 with Kai or someone? It was fairly recently we talked about it, I think.
Yeah, and now that it's fully open to park goers, it really has lived up to the expectations, like, which is cool because they have the parts like the classic movie monster section of the epic universe is really popular, which is nice to see Frankenstein get some love. But even the Harry Potter section looks amazing.
It really does. The Battle of the Ministry.
Yeah, it looks
really cool.
Dude,
it looks so cool.
The best part about having a kid is like we got to grow up with like these Pixar movies and this entire like Universal universe, and now it's all in one location. And like my daughter's gonna get to experience all of this stuff for the first time. And like I'm excited because I'm gonna love every second of going to Universal and be like, oh, it's definitely for my daughter. Not definitely for me.
Right. Disney's got to step it up because
they're making another theme park.
Yeah, which I'm not really sure how that's gonna work out.
It's gonna be for villains, I hear.
It's kind of cool.
We'll see how it goes.
We'll see. I look forward to seeing it.
Well, and then they're building a park in Dubai.
That's the rumor. Yeah, is that confirmed?
Yeah. I thought that was official news. They're building a park in Dubai.
Nice.
Doesn't it not make sense to build a theme park in the middle of a desert? I could be wrong though.
Well, they have multiple parks there, right?
They really?
But they're all indoors.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
can't say if they're good or not.
Central Florida in summer, not great either.
Also true. You know what they need? They need like a South Jersey theme park, complete with Six Flags.
I don't think they do it because of the winter.
No way. Because they lose revenue.
Yeah.
Like, who's gonna go to a Disney theme park?
Why they chose Florida and Southern California?
Yeah. I'll go Disney.
But we're not talking about Disney. We're talking about King Kong.
Yeah, we're talking about King Kong. We're talking
That's
about
it for the notes.
The Great Ape.
The Great Ape.
Considering how many notes I had for this, we breezed through that.
We did, actually. And Pat, I agree with your notes. Now, when you texted me about your notes, now that we've completed the recording, I do.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I do, actually.
Ready to give our ratings?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Peter, you have the chance to go first as the guest if you'd like it. Doesn't seem like you do.
Okay, I'll go last.
I'll go first here because I don't know.
I think you're harsher than me.
I sure am.
I want to end on a positive note.
If you want to spin some positivity on this bloated carcass of a movie, be my guest. I really, really wanted to like this when it came out. I still wanted to like it 20 years later. This is a very ambitious, well-made love letter to the original King Kong film. There are flashes of greatness in this. I think the finale in New York that concludes this film saves it. Peter Jackson absolutely succeeded at making King Kong a real character, and I want to give him credit for that. This film is a very, very impressive technical demonstration. It's a tech demo. But the problem is that anything that doesn't involve King Kong comes across as bloated melodrama. It's realistically an hour and a half too long. It meanders way too much for me to like it. Every sequence goes on far too long. Large parts of it resemble video game cutscenes. I think the first hour of the film could be cut out. It is coma-inducing of how boring it is. That's the problem with this film. It's boring. There's nothing in here that's offensively bad. It's just boring. I was so bored watching this film. And of course, outside of Andy Serkis's brilliant mocap performance, I think the cast is pretty underwhelming. Rewatching this for the podcast felt like doing homework. It was a chore. And the worst kind of cardinal sin that a monster movie blockbuster like this can commit is being boring. I will never revisit this. I can't really recommend it. It's a product of its time, I guess. I mean, based on the hype and who made it and the subject matter, this should have been so much better than what it was. And kind of like Tarzan, this belongs in a bygone era. I can't call this outright bad, but it was pretty stinky, and I did not enjoy rewatching it. This is a D+.
Damn. Okay. Hey, at least it's not an F.
No, I've seen... This is not a terrible movie. It's just... It's boring, and I just don't find this interesting or exciting.
Well, I can go next, and then Pete, you get the joy of rounding us out. This film is just a bit too inconsistent for me. There's a lot of spectacle. We've said that word a lot on this episode, and I think that's absolutely what this film was, just a ton of spectacle. and a lot of drawn out moments. And I feel like it could have done with a bit more brevity, but there really was clearly a lot of passion. I've said it before, a bit of ego from Peter Jackson when it came to this film, but he clearly loves King Kong, and that definitely showed. There was a lot of care and attention to wanting to tell the film however Peter Jackson wanted to do it, and that's what we got. But I think for what the film is and for how it was propped up to try to set up a universe and try to set up a trilogy of films, it wasn't the right film for that. It didn't have the right tone for that. It was too all over the place. And also the monkey died at the end. How are we going to have a sequel? But anyway, Hollywood's taken King Kong, they revitalized it, they've Hollywooded it up, and it's ongoing. But this is just a really interesting take on history, especially with how critically well this was received versus watching it now. I don't think that it deserves quite as high marks, but it is a really interesting piece of monster film history. For me, I don't think I want to revisit this again. I can't think of any opportunity where I would want to just put it on for fun. But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe in the future, if someone has never seen it before and we can watch it at 1.5, 1.75 speed. So I give this film a C minus.
Okay. Man, I'm going to be a little lighter. C minus is, I'm not going there, but I'm going to get close. So I listed a few reasons. One, long. The movie didn't need to be that long. The beginning didn't really need to be there. Number two, I wrote this down as we were talking about it, and I don't think I realized it because I watched the movie in two parts. The second half of the movie is like a sprint, and the first half of the movie is like a leisurely walk. The drama was very dramatic. I know it sounds ridiculous, but in a monster movie, I don't know if I needed to see Kong skating around an ice rink kind of thing, right? That was weird for me. The CGI, I think Kong looked great, but it didn't hold up well over time. And I do think the stampede and the insect were a little crazy, but I enjoyed it. So overall, from a movie perspective to critique it, I don't think it was a good movie, but I was entertained. So considering that, I'm going to give it a C.
Pretty positive.
I think that's reasonable, because I was entertained watching the movie.
Well, that makes one of us.
It's fair.
That's it for King Kong. Peter, always a pleasure to have you on.
I'm glad, guys. Thank you for having me back. It's been a while.
Well, Pete, we're excited to have had you on King Kong. We can't wait until the next episode that we'll have you on. It's always a treat.
Can we do King Kong?
The Warner Brothers King Kong?
I think some of them are on the list.
Well, I'd like to throw my name in the hat. You let the listeners and viewers know, if they want me back for a new Godzilla or Kong. I'm glad.
Do you just want that's going to be your brand from now on, is just covering King Kong related films?
No, my brand is Bond.
Okay.
my brand is Bond. Because I'm probably like one of 6 people on the planet that have never seen all of them. Also, new ones coming out too, but we're not talking about that now.
Is it?
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Maybe. Speculation says release times around GTA 6.
Anton, we could always throw him a curveball and have Pete on for the 1976 King Kong.
Ooh,
starring
that would be
Bridges and Jessica Lange.
That would be quite.
Bridges.
That would be quite a curveball.
Have you seen that, Anton?
I have seen that. That is. It has the same. It has the same energy as Swamp Thing. Did you guys ever see that?
Swamp Thing.
A long time ago, but yes.
Yeah, which is technically a DC superhero film.
Yeah, of course. Starring James Bond villain Louis Jourdan.
Yeah.
Very
similar.
Yeah, he's in the movie.
Very, very similar vibes to
James Bond villain.
Octopussy.
Yeah.
Octopussy.
Oh, weird. God. Anyway, guys, this has been fun. I loved it. Let me know the next movie you guys want, and I'll be here.
We will let you know. And that is, of course, it for this week's edition of Why Wasn't It Better? If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, give us a follow and a 5-star review. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel as well. We have various levels of subscription there. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And if anyone would like to support the show directly, we have a Patreon. Various levels of subscription are available to you there if you would like to enjoy things like ad-free episodes and getting access to our episodes a week or two early. Become a patron. Links to all of the above are in the description. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.